Caffe Panna's Muffin Man Delight. Yes, it is cooling off here in Georgia. At least it's cold for us Georgia folk. It's in the high 40s right now. So yeah, I basically got the Panna hoodie on. Not sporting the hoodie, but you know, it's that time of year. It's getting to be that time of year. We're getting some nice fall weather lately. I shouldn't complain. Enough about that. Let's talk ice cream. Muffin Man's Delight. So, what's new, right? Another old, super old pint. I'm talking, like December of 19 or February of 20. I know, very old. Nonetheless, would you ever be surprised if it weren't or didn't hold up extremely well? And this does. Muffin Man's Delight. So, it is a corn ice cream. Always very tough to pull off a corn base. Blueberry muffin top dough and cinnamon sugar graham cracker pieces. Look at that. Look at it. It's pretty and it tastes pretty. Got the spoon. Sorry, dropped it. So, what are we working with here? In short, a phenomenal ice cream. We all miss Caffe Panna. She's on a little hiatus right now, renovating her shop. She'll be back hopefully by the end of the year, which is just a month or two away. But now I will say, despite it being as old as it is, the base isn't as creamy as usual. That doesn't mean it's not creamy, just not as creamy. And a lot of that, I'm not going to blame it on the length of how old the pint is. I think a lot of it has to do with corn. Corn in general is a very tough flavor to pull off. Why? It's heavy. It's a water-heavy ingredient, right? Corn has a lot of water in it. Can lead to iciness. Most of the time people suffer because it gets a little too icy. And Caffe Panna's suffered a little bit. It's still creamy. I know it's hard to see with all the graham crunch, but it's not icy. It's just not as creamy as usual. Trust me. I know I've had many pints, many scoops of Caffe Panna. Nonetheless, what it lacks in texture totally makes up for in flavor. Not just is it like this beautiful, natural, slightly sweet corn flavor, it's salty too. You guys have to try it. It almost reminds me of like a cornbread type flavor, bringing the salt in, you know. Still a very natural corn, minimally sweet, but the salt is there and it is absolutely beautiful. So the description is kind of misleading. It has this blueberry muffin top dough. Basically that's, think of like a muffin, the bread, the dough part of the muffin. And then there's this, it's not necessarily on it, but there's plenty of it, this swirled, I'm calling it like a blueberry sauce, swirl, whatever you want to call it. And it's quite unique. I don't get a lot of muffin flavor, which is expected. You know, always a plain bread, dough, flour of some sort, kind of just, you know, mellows out amongst the other flavors. The blueberry though is quite good and it completely caught me off guard. And I'm going to say it this way, and it's not bad by any means, but it tastes like blueberry yogurt. I know that might freak some of y'all out, but it's freaking good. Basically it's not that sweet. It has more of that buttermilk tart, I don't want to say bitterness, just tartness to it. It truly tastes just like a blueberry yogurt. And it pairs really well with the dough and the corn. And of course the graham cracker crumble. I'm a huge fan. The consistency is, it's almost like yogurt as well. It's thick, very thick. Think of like thick and sticky like fudge or caramel, but not quite as, I'm gonna say sticky. Think more of a yogurt-like texture, just thick, not necessarily gooey and sticky. And then comes Caffe Panna's infamous graham crunch, which she's labeled as cinnamon sugar graham cracker pieces in this case. If you haven't had a chance to order her like actual panna that you whip yourself or her graham crunch, anytime it's available, order it. Enough said, it's worth the $10, bottom line. And here, it really takes the pint to another level. There's plenty of it. It's just like a crumbled graham cracker, a crumbled graham, like a crust, a crumbled pie crust. It's gritty, it's chewy, it's not hard, it just falls apart. It's crumbly. It's beautiful. The flavor's spot on. It's cinnamon sugary. It's Grammy. I love how I'm just making up words here. Grammy. Very graham-like. Here's the kicker though. I think Caffe Panna's just got this down pat. It finishes a little salty. Salt goes a long ways, you guys. Not gonna lie. This is a phenomenal pint, and it keeps getting better the deeper I dig. I'll go ahead and tell you, Hallie, Team Caffe Panna, the people are going to want this one once they see this. I think it was kind of a special scent flavor. Not tooting my own horn here. I think it was just an extra flavor I got when I ordered a pack. The people need this. It's not perfect because we got a little issue with the texture. But everything else is perfect. And for that reason, Caffe Panna's Muffin Man's Delight gets a 9.5 out of 10.